It was Christmas Eve, a night of warmth and joy for most families. But in the freezing dark, a little black girl was digging through trash, desperate for something to eat. A wealthy single mother, rushing home with gifts for her own child, stopped and watched in disbelief. Why would a child be out here, alone, hungry, on the very night meant for miracles? What she discovered in that moment didn't just break her heart. It shattered everything she thought she knew about kindness, privilege, and justice. And the truth she uncovered will leave you asking, how could this happen? For Rebecca Collins, life had become a careful balance of success and survival. She was a self-made millionaire and a single mother, known for her sharp business mind and her determination to give her son the childhood she never had. Her days were filled with boardroom meetings, late-night emails, and the endless pressure of proving she could do it all on her own. Yet when December rolled around, her focus shifted. Christmas was her season. Lights on every window, gifts stacked high under the tree, and traditions she guarded fiercely to make sure her little boy never felt the emptiness she once knew. That Christmas Eve was supposed to be perfect. Snowflakes clung to her coat as she carried shopping bags filled with toys and treats, her mind on the warm fire waiting at home. The streets glittered with decorations, and holiday music spilled from every store. For Rebecca, it felt like proof that she had built a life of safety, comfort, and joy. But comfort has a way of blinding us. Just a few blocks from her luxury car, in the shadows of a city too often ignored, she was about to see something that would stop her in her tracks. Something that didn't fit into her picture-perfect world. Rebecca was halfway to her car when she noticed movement near the alley. At first, she thought it was just a stray dog digging through the piles of discarded boxes. But then, a small hand reached out, pulling back a torn plastic bag. And there she was, a little black girl, no older than 7, her hair messy, her coat 2 sizes too small, and her fingers trembling in the cold. She was searching, not for gifts, not for toys, but for food. Rebecca froze. For a moment, she couldn't move. This was Christmas Eve. Children were supposed to be at home, sipping cocoa, waiting for Santa. Not here, not like this. She stepped closer, her shopping bag swinging against her coat, filled with enough treats to feed 3 families. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" she asked softly. The girl startled, clutching a bruised apple she'd found like it was treasure. Her wide, fearful eyes darted toward Rebecca, then to the shadows, as though she expected someone to yell at her. Rebecca's heart ached. "Where's your family?" she pressed gently. But before the child could answer, a sharp voice cut through the night. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" Rebecca turned. A store manager had stepped out, arms crossed, his expression cold. He didn't look at Rebecca. His glare was fixed on the little girl. "Filthy kid," he muttered, "always digging through my trash. I told her before, if I see her again, I'm calling the cops." The little girl froze, her body tense, as though she'd been through this before. Rebecca's pulse quickened. "She's just a child," she said firmly. But the man sneered. "Doesn't matter. These kids grow up thinking they can take whatever they want. Better to scare them straight now than let them become criminals later." Rebecca felt heat rising in her chest. This wasn't just about trash. This was about judgment, about race, about a child being treated as less than human on the holiest night of the year. She knelt down, meeting the girl's eyes. "You're not doing anything, W." Rebecca brought the little girl into the warmth of her car, but as they drove, the child stayed silent, clutching the bruised apple like it was gold. Finally, Rebecca whispered, "Sweetheart, what's your name?" "Lila," the girl murmured. "Where's your mom, Lila?" Rebecca asked gently. That's when the truth spilled out in broken fragments. Lila's mother had been fired weeks ago, from the very store whose manager had threatened to call the police. She'd been accused of stealing time for taking too many bathroom breaks, when in reality, she'd been sick. But instead of compassion, she'd been given humiliation. Without income, food became scarce. Bills piled up, and when her mother went out begging for work, Lila was left to fend for herself. Rebecca's hands tightened on the wheel. She could hardly breathe. The manager hadn't just scolded a hungry child. He had destroyed her family's livelihood, then discarded them like trash. But the worst part came next. With a trembling voice, Lila said, "Mama told me it's 'cause we're black, that people like us don't get second chances." Those words cut deeper than any blade. Rebecca's chest burned with anger and shame. How could a child, so young, so innocent, already believe the world had decided her worth? For a moment, the millionaire who had everything felt powerless. All the money, all the success, none of it mattered in the face of this cruel reality. This wasn't just poverty. It was racism, sharp, ugly, and undeniable. And as Rebecca looked into Lila's tired eyes, she realized she had stumbled into a truth far bigger than one night. A truth that demanded not just pity, but action. Because if a child could believe she was worthless on Christmas Eve, what did that say about the world the rest of us had built? Rebecca didn't drop Lila off with a bag of food and walk away. She brought her home. For the first time in weeks, Lila slept in a warm bed, her small body no longer shivering in the cold. The next morning, Rebecca tracked down Lila's mother, exhausted and broken from endless rejection. And when they embraced, two mothers, one wealthy, one struggling, it was clear the fight wasn't just about one family. Rebecca used her resources to help them find stability, but more importantly, she used her voice. She confronted the store, not just for firing Lila's mother unjustly, but for the prejudice that fueled their cruelty. She spoke out in her circles, rooms where injustice was often ignored because it was easier not to see. For the first time, Rebecca realized that true wealth wasn't measured in money, but in courage, the courage to stand against what's wrong, even when it's uncomfortable. But the impact didn't end there. The image of Lila clutching that bruised apple never left her mind. It became a symbol, a reminder that behind every statistic, every headline about inequality, there are children just like Lila, waiting for someone to notice, someone to care. This wasn't just Rebecca's awakening. It's ours too, because racism doesn't always scream. It whispers in boardrooms, in hiring offices, in stores that turn away the hungry. And it's up to each of us to decide. Will we keep walking past the shadows? Or will we stop, look closer, and fight for something better? Rebecca's story is just one moment, one choice. But multiplied across millions of choices, it could change everything. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you see injustice staring back at you, will you look away? Or will you be the one who refuses to stay silent?